What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Black Tea Review. So today we're going to talk about the Netflix animated series, Kengan. It took me a couple days to finish it. Actually, it took me like over a month to finish it, actually, because I started watching other stuff, and there were times where I was like, kind of bored of watching this. But nonetheless, I finished it, and overall, I want to talk about different things. First, I'm going to say that the visuals were great. A lot of people don't like the way it looks because how 3D CGI animated it looks. It kind of reminds me of a video game. I'm not too fond of, like, it's not my favorite because of the way it looks. That's my least favorite. It's the way it looks doesn't factor into whether I like it more or less. I'm okay with it. I thought it was fine. Like I said, a lot of people are not favored by it, but it was whatever. That didn't like hit or miss it for me or break it for me. But the visuals definitely remind me of a video game. I felt like I was watching the video game where the storyline plays out and it talks about the characters, and the fight scenes were actually really good. And the gore, oh my god, the gore. So much gore, so much gore, so much blood, so much violence. The violence is definitely next level, so I don't know if any kids should be watching this or people want their kids to watch it because it's pretty violent. It gets pretty violent. Like, wow. The main character, Oma, is pretty pretty violent and pretty psychopathic. He's built like a freaking really strong, really crazy. I love that they use Jeet Kune Do, and added that into it as martial arts, because you know they do a lot of martial arts in here. They do a lot of just hardcore ass whooping and fighting. They have a multitude of different types of characters, from Japanese to black animated characters, which I thought was very inclusive and it was kind of cool. Not to mention, each of those fighting characters have their own personality and their own way and skill of fighting, which was very interesting. One of the characters, Yamashita, is a very nerve-wracking character. Oh my god, it's like every minute, every second, he's about to have some sort of breakdown, some sort of anxiety attack, and he was giving me anxiety. I'm like, oh my god, Yamashita, calm down. The poor guy, he was an older man, and to give you a backstory, it's about basically this older man who was out. He found this guy beating up some guy in the alleyway. Next thing you know, he goes to work, and next thing you know, he gets invited to be a part of, to kind of operate this fight club. It's kind of like Fight Club meets Street Fighter, to be honest. If you ever played the old 90s video arcade game Street Fighter, the way their stances are, and they're like, you know, and the way even the characters look. Like, there was a scene where I believe the main character, he gets really, really angry, and you can see kind of the veins, or supposed to be veins, but they're like drawn out lines coming out of. I actually like that. Yeah, the way they fight, because they're basically like fighting in random areas, pits. They're a bunch of rich guys paying to watch men fight, watch gladiators fight, and that's where the Fight Club inspiration kind of comes from. Overall, the visuals were great as far as anything goes. The storyline, I'm not really, I don't even know what. I mean, it was just basically about fighting, so there wasn't really a strong, solid storyline, or there could have definitely been more character development for me personally. When I watch anime, I just feel like they were throwing characters in there whom they didn't give me enough backstory, or if they did give me backstory, it was like rushed, and at the end I'm just like, I don't care about these characters. I'm not invested in them. The only characters I really cared about was like the main two characters, because I saw them a lot, and even then I wasn't too attached to them. I really did love Yamashita, and I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the way it ended. I was just like, okay, like we ended on that note with those characters, which is fine. But I, I wasn't too like, it wasn't something I was like, oh my god, I would watch this again, and I would like watch it over. And actually, I feel like it was taking me a long time to finish it anyway. And there were times where I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I like the fighting. The fighting is great." But everything else wasn't just. It wasn't keeping me there to want to sit there and binge it and watch it. But that's me personally. I really have to like the show to sometimes sit and actually be able to binge watch the whole thing. Some people talked about how it's similar to the other anime on Netflix called Baki. I've never actually watched that. It does look like a pretty good show though. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I would overall rate it a C plus. Yeah, I'd rate this a C plus. And if you would if you would care to see this anime and watch it for yourself and kind of, if you're into action and fighting, you'll love this. If you're into 3D, you might not like it. Because a lot of people didn't like the way it looked. Because of the way they're doing the new adaptation of some animes. I mean, I'm not a big fan of those type of adaptations, but I didn't really have an issue with it. But if you're into that, you'll like this. If you're into Fight Club and Street Fighter, if you're into fighting and really violent stuff, you'll like it. Like I said, those things are good. They are good points in the film. It's just personally, everything else that came with it for me wasn't really something I would go back and watch again. But nonetheless, it wasn't bad. And there's going to be a part 2, and we'll see how part 2 goes. Before I go, if you want to get a copy of this Rain series by T Outlaw, it is about a group of young adults in a psych ward, and they get a new counselor who's actually trying to figure out why they're in this psych ward, and he learns that they have abilities and that there's a lot of strange things going on in this place, and they're doing experiments on these kids, and he's trying to help them get out and figure out what their abilities / powers are. This is only series 1, so you can get a copy. Hit the link below to get a copy and get a read of what it's about. And I will see you all next time.